Okay, today is the start of 2017, so today I'm going to be starting my Chinese 27.5 carbon trail bike build. So I have my carbon 27.5 velo build bike right here, but I think I'm going to be rebuilding it. So here is going to be a series, and the series is going to go pretty slow because I'm going to take my time with it, but just an assessment of the bike overall right now is the hanger is broken off, so it's just being held on by a through axle. The cassette is, I don't know if you can tell, but the cassette is all rusty. The chain is rusty, and this is part of like a bit of neglect, and pedals are rusty. The drivetrain is pretty destroyed. The wheels are bent, and they're not engaging, and they're pretty destroyed. The bearings are shot. The front wheel actually did pretty good. The tires are gone. The fork did pretty good. The shock is blown out. All the bearings in the linkage are pretty destroyed. The bottom bracket did pretty good. The cranks did pretty good. The frame is pretty much perfect besides the hanger breaking off. The seat post is cracked. What else? And the brakes did really good as well. So, here it is overall, and we're gonna start this build series, and then we're gonna take down what we have to fix and what we have to replace and everything. So here we go. All right. So what we have to start off is washing the bike. So we'll go outside and we'll wash it. Alright, first order of business, I'm going to get all the drivetrain removed, and then we can start doing linkages, and then we can go on to brakes and fork and stem. So here we go. Alright, so first we're going to get the derailleur off, the chain off. The cranks might be an issue because my crank removing tool does not fit in there. So we might have to hammer it out, and then we can go on to getting the linkages all pulled off and the bottom, and then we can get the headset and the fork removed, and then we can pull the brakes through. And I don't know, I think I'm gonna have to cut the lines for the brakes to pull them all the way through, but that's fine. We'll pull the shifter cable through, and then we can start pulling all the bearings out of all the linkage parts and getting them labeled and put them on a piece of paper so we know which ones to replace, and then we can get everything off the frame so we can prep it for paint. Okay, so we've encountered a problem with the cranks. The cranks will not come off, so I think I can access all the linkage bits with the cranks on. So I'm going to go ahead and take off all the linkage besides this lower chainstay. Before I take that off, I'm going to pull all the cables through it, the shifter cable and the brake cable, and then I can take that off. So we'll go ahead and start unbolting all these little linkage parts. Okay, as you can see, I did a time lapse of taking the top linkage apart and the shock, so that's apart. Now that we have all that apart, we're going to pull the cable for the shifter, and we're going to pull that. I think that is going to be a mess because I'm going to have to cut the cable here or unscrew it up at the top where the lever is and then pull it all the way through the frame. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I can get an Allen through this into that linkage bolt, and then this linkage bolt on the other side is exposed, so then I can get that, and then we can take off this bottom linkage, get all this padding pulled off of it, and then we can start getting the bearings out of this linkage right here. So we need to get the bearings out of here. The one bearing came out of this pivot point. Oh, I'm dropping stuff. Came out of this pivot point already with the bolt. So one is in there, right there, as you can see the bearings in there. And then on the other side, that's what it'll look like without the bearing. So we need to get that bearing off of there, off of here, and this bearing out of here, and then the two bearings out of right here and right here. So, and then we can move on to here where we have this bearing right here. I don't know if you can see that. This bearing right here, and then there's another bearing on the other side. So, let's get it going. Okay, so what I've done is I've unbolted the hose from the lever. Basically what I did is you pull back this little condom and you unbolt right here. But you're still going to have a crunch washer and a hose feed right there that's metal. So what you're going to want to do is what I use, unless it's a braided line, I use this little razor blade snips, and so the hosing is plastic, so you're basically wanting to cut off like that much so you don't hit the metal piece inside, and you just snip it off, and then it leaves a clean cut. Here, I'll show you. It leaves a pretty clean cut, and then what you can do is, those aren't reusable. That piece that I just snipped off isn't reusable. So what you're going to need is something of this sort to go back into the brake hose. So something of this sort. So after we have cut this, we can pull this nut or this screw off, set it aside. I'm just going to set it up in my magnet, and then you can pull the condom off, the little cover, and then you can basically pull the brake cable all the way through. And I'm going to unbolt this so then I can just pull the whole thing off, so then I don't kink the hose. You do not want to kink these. They are plastic lined, so you can kink them and then you won't have as good flow. So I'm going to unbolt the caliper and pull it all the way through. Okay, so now after you pulled your cable all the way through with your caliper, you can choose to take off your lever, or which in my case I'm just going to leave it on, and we'll move on to the shifter cable. So with the shifter cable, we'll just get right into it. I'm just going to pull it from up here because I'm pretty much going to replace the inner shield and the outer shield because it has been in there since the bike has been built, which was about last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this little bit off right here. So pull that off, and then now the cable is free to slide right through. So I'm going to go up to the top and just pull it right on through. So now we have the cable all the way out. So now I'm going to take the cable and just pull it all the way through. And then we can pretty much throw this outer cable away because we're not going to use it again. And they're fairly cheap and inexpensive. And so with the shifter cable, to remove shifting cables out of SRAM X7 and pretty much a lot, is you can shift it all the way to the, I think it's the highest gear. So you're just going to keep on clicking it, and then you reach through here and it should just push and pull this little grommet out of the way. I loosened my my lever, and then you can pretty much just push the cable through, grab it out, and pull it through. And then we'll replace that as well because that's frayed and too short. So now we have the shifter cable and the brake lever all disassembled, and then now we're going to move on to the front caliper and the front brake lever. We're going to keep those together, and then we can take the fork off and the headset off. Okay, so the back linkage, the shock, the caliper, the shifter, front caliper, front lever, back lever, shifter, and that is about it, and pivot point on the linkage right here are off. So now it's a decision whether to go ahead and take the bottom chainstay off or the fork and the headset. So to take off the fork, it's pretty straightforward. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take off the pinch bolts right here, and then you're going to unscrew the headset bolt up here, and then what we can do is we can basically pull the fork through the bottom, and the bottom bearing, because it is integrated, it's got one bearing right here and one bearing up here, and they're both inside the frame. So we're going to pull the fork through the frame, and then we're going to have both the bearings. So then we can pull the bars off and put all these spacers aside and put the headset aside because we might need a new one. We're going to check the bearings. If they're crunchy, we have to replace them. If they're running smooth, we can just re-grease them, repack them, and then put it back together when the bike goes back together. So here we go. Okay, so our fork and our headset are removed. So there's the fork right there, there's the head tube, and the headset, I think it's salvageable. I really don't want to order another one. They take a pretty long time to get here, so I think they're salvageable. They definitely have dirt around them, but I think the bearings are good. They're pretty well sealed, and those are really nice bearings. So I think we're good there, and then we're going to go on to the chainstay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, actually I have the tool right here. Okay, so what we're going to use is we're going to use this rounded Allen key, and how we get it in there is we're just going to put it below there, and it fits right in a little bit cockeyed like that. And then on the other side, we're going to use traditional 8mm Allen key. So here we go. Okay, so now I'm finding out that I actually do need to take off the crank, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But this is the bolt right here that I pulled out, and on the other side it has a it's a sex bolt, so there's gonna be a sleeve that goes over this, and this just screws right up into it. So what we can do is we can probably just take the chain ring off and the chain guard off and get it off, and I think that's what I'm gonna do because these cranks are not coming off. So we'll go ahead and take the chain bolts out, or the chain ring bolts out, take the chain guard off, take the chain ring off, and then we can push this bolt out and get this linkage off. Okay, so there you have it. We have the crank bolts out, the chain ring and the chain guard off. We have the linkage, I guess you could say linkage bolt off. We have the linkage spacers, and we have the chainstay, like just right here. Boom. Chainstay is off, and we need to get to work on these parts because these parts are pretty scuffed up. So there you have it. The frame is completely broken down. All the parts are up here and all taken apart, and all the bearings are out of the linkages and everything. And so now we have to prep this for paint, but in the next video we're going to be talking about suspension travel and geometry, because the frame company that I bought this from recommended a shock size that is a little bit weird, and I'm gonna see if I can utilize this bike frame to get more travel out of the bike. So be sure to watch the next video and subscribe for more. Like the video if this helped you out, or this build series is going to help you out building your bike. And I'll see you guys in the next video.